In today's show, let's look ahead to all of the action for Thursday. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I am the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com and at Yahoo Sports Australia. And you can find me on Twitter as always at redrock_Beeble and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode of Locked On Fantasy Basketball is brought to you by McDonald's, proudly serving communities. Since 1965, McDonald's is more than just a place for tasty and affordable food. It's an unofficial community center. We thank McDonald's for supporting this podcast and for always being there. I am loving it. Well, actually, not I am loving it. I'm loving it. I'm also loving the fact that you make Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. We are here to look ahead to the games for Thursday. There's only 3 of them. Very, very low volume day. Let's talk about them right now. The first one of these games is the Toronto Raptors and the Philadelphia 76ers. The Raptors are on a back-to-back here. Scotty Barnes, getting more information about what he does at every game is always important. He's super fun to watch. He's very, very active offensively and defensively. Usage was up on Wednesday, which was great to see. Let's see how he goes. And I also want to see Pascal Siakam. Not necessarily whether Siakam, what he does, but whether he's going to play. It is a back-to-back, so his first back-to-back since returning from the shoulder surgery. Will he play in the back-to-back? Will he be restricted? What does he look like? If he does play, how his gap gets filled in, especially with Kem Birch. That actually deserved a giggity. I need to do that one.
Giggity!
Kem Birch may not play, so how are they going to run? That means Chris Boucher become an option. Very interesting stuff could be happening there with Toronto. And then, interestingly, the thick hogsman, Tobias Harris.
I think I am a TH?
T to the H! Yeah, TH for life.
Tobias Harris has been upgraded to questionable, so we might get him returning. So how that affects George Niang, Furkan Korkmaz, there's still no Thibault, no Embiid, Curry's questionable, no Isaiah Joe, no Simmons, but Harris coming back, depending if they go full go, that could have a real impact on guys like Korkmaz and Niang, who've been getting some huge numbers, or at least huge shot attempts in Korkmaz's case. But Harris could return for this game, so we want to see how Harris looks. We want to see how Niang goes and how Korkmaz and how that all fits in. Of course, to hear more updates on that, Locked On Sixers got a new host, Serena Winters. You know Serena. You would have seen her around the NBA sphere for a very long time. Former Sixers sideline reporter. She now hosts the Locked On 76ers podcast, so go and check her out over there. Let's look at the second game of the day. It is the Pacers and the Jazz. Will Caris LeVert play? He was ruled out on Wednesday. They don't think it's anything too serious, but he's just feeling a little bit stiff in his back, so they've ruled him out. I guess that's a caution just being the back-to-back. So will LeVert play? That's a really big question. And then, how does that impact Brogdon and Duarte and Holiday and all those sort of guys? So his status, if he misses both games of the back-to-back, I'll be more worried about LeVert. Let's see what happens. And then also Miles Turner, of course, he was subject of one of my request elaboration segments earlier this week. So how does Turner look? Can he keep the minutes high? Can he keep the shooting up? Can he keep his massive positive impact going for this Pacers team, as he has been a really key piece? While for the Jazz, Joe Ingles, unfortunately, in most games this season, is just not worthy of a 12-team league's roster spot. I don't think that's going to change, but let's see if he can do anything to change my mind. I think he's just an elite streamer, but again, on a day like this, he is a good streamer. And then, of course, Hassan Whiteside. Whiteside has been really solid as a backup center. That's all he's been. Solid to good as a backup, and it's providing okay fantasy numbers. So let's watch how he, again, fills in that role behind Rudy Gobert, and it looks like he sort of has found a role as that 20-minute-a-night backup center, or 18-minute-a-night backup center, which good for him after having some struggles over the last couple of years. Guys, BetOnline is the number one place for you to go to place your bets. Basketball, football, whatever it is, BetOnline is that number one spot for you to go. And they've got a new updated desktop interface as well as their mobile site. And if you go there as a first-time user, you can sign up and get a 50% welcome deposit on your first deposit. Match bonus. Awesome. If you use our promo code LOCKEDON, though. So you've got to use that promo code LOCKEDON. From basketball, football, the NHL, boxing, UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait. Take advantage of all of the offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all of your favorite sports. BetOnline is where the game starts. Okay, let's now move on to the last game of the day, and that is the Heat and the Clippers. This is a back-to-back for Miami. I don't know if anything major happened in their game on Wednesday, because I'm recording this beforehand, but Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero were both questionable before Wednesday. They played on Wednesday, so watching their status will be key. Also, Kyle Lowry, who's been pretty up and down. Started out poorly, had a really hot streak, dropped off the last game or so. Where is he sitting? He is clearly a must-roster play, even though some people have discussed dropping him. I just want to see him continue to do well with his assists defensively, and hopefully some of the shots fall more. Or Duncan Robinson, I want to watch his minutes, because instead of playing 31 or 32, he's sometimes getting 27 or 28 as Tyler Hero is pushing up, and that's obviously impacting the value that Duncan Robinson can have. So if he is, I obviously don't believe he's a must-roster player. I've said that a million times. But watching his minutes, I think he's going to be really key. And then we go on to the Clippers. Reggie Jackson. The minutes and the shot attempts have been high all year, but they're going in. He's providing excellent value. And I think we've got to watch. There's a chance maybe with this sort of volume, he can be a top 100 player. And then Nick Batum, who's putting up great numbers. He needs to be on all rosters, at least until Marcus Morris returns, which I don't even know when that's going to be. So watching how Batum is working with this squad, they might even continue starting Batum over Morris even when Morris is back. So I don't imagine Morris is coming back and playing a huge chunk of minutes straight away. So watching Jackson and Batum is something that I want to do. Let's look at some stream options. Great day for streaming with only 3 games on. Danny Green, Eric Bledsoe, great stream for the rest of the week, as is Green. The Undertaker, Dwayne Dedman, Sfima Hailuk, especially if Pascal Siakam is out. Torrey Craig for Indiana, especially if Karis LeVert is out. The Big Sneeze, Precious Achua. If there's no Siakam and no Birch, good opportunity to stream him. Justin Holiday, especially again if LeVert happens to be sidelined. There's some good 9-category streams. For deeper formats, these guys are rostered in under 10% of leagues. Dedman, Mihailuk, Craig, we've spoken about already. Jeremy Lamb with a solid role in Indiana. Delano Banton in Toronto, another guy that will get minutes if Siakam is out. Paul Reed in Philadelphia, although if Tobias Harris plays, that probably cuts down some of his value. And then the triangle, Eric Paschall in Utah, with Rudy Gay still sidelined. Paschall's going to have his little bench role, and he's available in most spots. Lastly, we go to look at point streamers. These guys are all available in over 50% of leagues. Terrence Mann, he'll be a 30-plus minute a night guy. Achua, Luke Kennard, struggled last game, but absolutely worth having. Royce O'Neal, Eric Bledsoe, Shake Milton, Joe Ingles, and Danny Green. They are all solid enough 12-team points league streams for Thursday's action. Before we get out of here, a big thank you to McDonald's. They have been proudly serving communities since 1965. It is a place where McDonald's is a place where you can go to reconnect with friends and family. It's not just that place for tasty and affordable food. We all remember McDonald's from some point in our life. You know right now, I guarantee you, test right now, you know where your local McDonald's is. You know where it is. You know what you can get there. Reliable, tasty, affordable food, but also a community center type environment. You go there with your kids after school, after a sporting achievement, for a birthday. You go there to catch up, go for a walk, get a coffee, meet up with your friends, use their Wi-Fi, whatever it is. Macca's is an integral part of our community. So why don't you head to your local McDonald's, refuel, and reconnect. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm loving it. Guys, that will do it for today's show. I'll be back with an absolute rip-snorter monster of a recap, all 13 games later on today. Don't forget to follow this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and on the Odyssey app on YouTube. Thumb me up. Leave your comments down below, guys. We're done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.